What, is he going to drive that cross country?
He ain't living here forever.
He can ship the car, perhaps.
Yeah, you can't really drive Tesla cross country.
Yeah.
That's not true.
You done it?
Oh yeah, we took a road trip in our Model Y to Florida and back.
No way.
Yeah, it was easy.
That's
no,
crazy.
It was a piece of cake.
Do you have the long range?
Even without the long range, it'd be cake.
Sure.
Our Model Y though is the dual motor, not the performance.
Oh, okay.
Those are the only two options. You either get the long range dual motor or the performance, which is
Does the performance longer range, or is it less range?
A little bit less because it's biased more towards power and performance.
Yeah.
Even so, I took this car all the way up to Oregon and back.
Oh wow.
And this is only real world about 220 miles.
Mm-hmm. You just stop at the superchargers along the way, or what do you do?
Your average stop is maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How did I just notice that?
Oh, that's it? Only 10? That's
Yep.
not bad. Okay.
You don't want to fill up when supercharging for road trips because then you will that a lot of time.
Yeah.
But you get your 50-60% in 10 minutes or so.
Oh, shit,
up to
really?
80-85% in around 20-25 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. I thought it was worse.
Yeah, what my wife and I found out, because we had her and I, our 3 dogs, and all of our luggage packed into the car.
No
And
way,
we were
really?
even weighed down by a lot of excess mass, and we never had to worry about getting to the next charger. We never had to wait for a charger.
Uh-huh.
And by the time we got to one, we were ready to stretch our legs, get a snack, get the dogs out of the car.
That's fair, yeah.
Some people have this kind of twisted notion that they want to be on the road for 10 hours straight to try to get to their destination, and it's like, yeah, you would never do that.
Yeah.
Here home.
How long is that drive?
You still wouldn't want to do that in a leased car because you'll hit your lease cap
Exactly,
mileage.
yeah.
That's where my mind went.
Yeah, that's the thing with the lease. It's
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
capped with the miles.
Yeah, but mileage cap, that's why it doesn't make sense to lease, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't drive too much, it's not bad, but
True, yeah.
I feel
I
like
could
most
never
leases
lease
you
it.
get like 10,000 miles a year, if that.
It's usually
Or is it more?
less.
Oh my god.
I think it's around
I feel like even
5,000.
even 10 though is
Yeah.
not that great.
10's not great these days, in an age where most of us are on the road a lot.
Yeah.
I would completely kill a lease in about a month of what I do. Which is why I had to finance this car. I was like, there's no way. Even financing, though, with what I do, it's not bad. This is only $600 a month.
Okay.
So that's like 3 days with Uber.
Uh-huh. How many hours a day are you Ubering?
Kind of depends on how good the day is. I usually, on the weekdays, I'll start at like maybe 4 in the morning and run till about 1 or 2
Okay.
in the afternoon. I don't work during
Do you get
the rush
much
hour.
at like 4 a.m. on a weekday?
Oh, there's a ton of business that early.
Really?
Yeah, between hospital shifts, security change-outs,
Oh, okay.
coffee shops, airport runs. There's a
Yeah.
whole section of our society that's up before the rest of us just
Yeah.
so we can have our products.
Uh-huh.
I realized that when I started driving everyone around, especially a lot of the early morning breakfast joints and coffee places,
Yeah.
where they're going in at 5 in the morning at like Starbucks to get that fired up.
Uh-huh.
It's funny. And most drivers are still asleep, so early bird gets the worm.
Yeah.
I'll do everything I can to avoid that afternoon rush hour, though. That is atrocious.
Yeah.
Spend more time sitting still than you do earning money.
Yeah.
And you might not think it, but this car's got over 160,000 miles on it.
Holy shit, really?
And I've probably had like 25,000 people in that backseat.
That's crazy.
Over 10,000 trips, anywhere from 1 to 4 people.
Yeah.
I mean, on average, though, if you were to spread that out, the average is probably like 1.25.
Yeah.
You know, most rides are just one person.
Uh-huh. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild.
Do you do Uber full time?
Yeah. Yeah, for about 2 years, like from 22 throughout 22 and 23, I was the only mechanic for another EV startup, so I spent most of my time on the road going through Arizona, Nevada, the Northern California regions, Bay Area.
That's kind of, you were all over the place then.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
As of this January, though, I was able to get back to just doing this, which I prefer personally.
Oh, really?
I mean, I love the company I was working for. I hope that somehow they come back from the ashes, but that's the fate of most startups.
Yeah.
End up not making it. But it was a pretty big pay cut to be a mechanic for them compared to doing this.
Really?
Oh yeah. Especially if you do this in an EV. I mean, I still average probably 50 an hour plus.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's
damn good.
dumb. When I first started doing this in 2019, before the world fell apart, I was renting a little Kia, and I saw with that thing, in the first week I made about $1,000. and went, what the hell? No way. But I mean, 500 of that a week was going to rental and gas.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I could turn this into an actual career if I got myself an EV.
Yeah.
I'd assume that's your speed limit. 115.
Yeah, but think for a second what that is. Ah, damn. You beat me to it.
What did you say?
It's kilometers an hour.
Yep.
What's in kilometers?
I like the metric
Could you just
system.
change it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just a total geek. I've got
I
my
was gonna say,
temperature
I
in
was like,
Celsius
I
as well.
Celsius.
feel like
That's
that's
funny.
accurate. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like you're going on.
You're actually flying right now.
I've had one or two people that were like, oh my god, how fast are we going? I'm like, I love having fun with it because I like to make people kind of think about it. I'm like, well, think about everybody else. Is everybody going 115 miles an hour right now? And then they kind of like stop and like laugh a little bit like, oh. I was like, yeah, it's metric. I'm a little bit of a troll.
You were just waiting for somebody to say something.
It's fine, yeah. I mean, I'm so used to it because I have always liked the metric system, just being a major science and space geek. And all of that is using metric.
Yeah.
Even when I was getting my associates in the medical field as a respiratory therapist, it's metric. Most science and engineering stuff is metric.
Yeah. Everything's metric.
Yeah, we're one of the only countries that still uses this whack imperial system. Freedom units.
Freedom units.
Some people are really attached to it. Like I have a section of my audience that just is adamant that I change my stuff back to miles per hour, and I'm just like, not gonna do it. I end up putting it in the description of my video. It's like, I use metric. No, I'm not changing it. You'll be okay.
Post on YouTube or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been a YouTuber for several years, monitoring or covering Tesla's self-driving feature and
Oh, cool.
having a lot of fun conversations around FSD and tech and EVs and such.
Does this Tesla have the full self-driving package?
It's been driving itself since I picked you up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even like through the lights and everything?
Yeah, you'll see
shit.
it. Turn signal on, do this turn.
Yeah.
Especially with this impatient asshole right here. Total Chad too. Backwards hat, open mouth. That's hilarious.
Do all the Teslas now have the option for like completely autonomous driving? Because for a
most
long
of them-
time they didn't do like the stoplights and everything too, right?
Yes, and sorry, I just got distracted because it's rerouting us. Interesting. I think that was actually just a navigational flop, but it should correct here in a second. That is one of the remaining current issues that I'm having, is it seeming to not stick to its route sometimes. Which this isn't really sacrificing a lot of time for you guys, which is good. If it was gonna take us like continue down the highway, then I would take over.
Yeah.
But back to your question though, every vehicle after a certain year where we had technically hardware 3, which is the certain cameras and computer, they all have the availability for it. You just have to choose to activate it.
Because I remember for a while they like used to say like it had the capability to do it, but because of like legality reasons they didn't activate it or something.
Not quite. So the legal side is as a level 2 system, which to put it simply is the same as like any advanced cruise control. It requires, a driver to be here paying attention, and it helps me to do my thing. That's like the legal language. It has the technical capability of functioning autonomously as long as I'm here and doing my part, which is to not abuse it. There's a little camera watching me on the inside, and there's the occasional point where I have to apply pressure to the wheel to satisfy it, or it'll beep at me and like even kick me off of autopilot with a lot of loud alarms if I abuse it. But what I've enjoyed doing is showing the proof of concept that even though I'm here technically as like a coach or safety driver, it's actually able to do the whole job.
Yeah.
And take you from pickup to drop off safely. And it's gotten to a point now where my complaints are more so around how good it is. Like, are you a 5-star service? Are you getting there competently, not wasting the customer's time, not jerking them around like a new driver? Like, is it a service you would be willing to pay to come back to?
Yeah.
That's how I visualize it. Because nobody cares about a party trick that you might do once and go, yeah, I would never take that again. You want something that's so boring and benign that it will just become part of your daily life.
Don't even think about it.
Kind of like airline travel. Like, it's insane. You're in a steel tube flying. It's crazy, but it's just normal life. It's just what we're used to. That's the hope with this in a couple of years. It's getting really good. It has some like that little behavior where it sort of danced a little bit. I'm like, all right, just commit to the lane.
Right.
You got commitment issues. Safety related though, it's gotten really great. It's so much better than most people that I encounter. Like our Porsche friend back there who just wanted to race around us with like barely a foot between the cars. There's a full-blown
And it
turn
does good
for
with
you.
shit like that too, like where people are being assholes on the road.
Yes, it will avoid, and because it can see behind us too. I've had moments where it's bailed on a lane change or accelerated to dodge somebody coming up like him.
Oh, really?
Oh, and here is actually a perfect case of something it can't do. It's not trained on flashing reds yet. So since we have no one behind us, you guys will be able to see that it'll kind of stutter like it thinks it's a red light but isn't sure. And it's like, go, no,
I
don't
see.
go, don't, maybe go.
Interesting.
And actually it did proceed through without me having to hit the throttle.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Thought about it for a second.
Yeah, eventually it'll get better at this sort of thing, but there are just certain things that aren't a part of its skill
It's
set
also
yet.
interesting. It shows that like it goes green.
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
second, too.
That's kind of where you're actually seeing its depiction and how it is a little confused.
Yeah.
Things that light up in blue, it's kind of paying special attention to. Now it's doing its stutter thing again, like, wait, do we go? So I'm going to actually give it throttle to push us, which is one of the things I can do. It'll go around this guy because it detects that he's stopped. And then hopefully quickly enough get back over, unless this is an awkward scenario where he starts going. Okay, cool. There's all those crazy little factors that can come in that it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, is it going to be able to navigate this problem?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys had to rate it like an Uber driver, 1 to 5 stars, what would you
I
give it?
didn't even fucking notice it.
Yeah, I
For long.
really had no idea. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I thought you just had to go on the freeway. I didn't realize when you like first picked us up that while we were going to like the city streets that it was still doing it.
Yep. It used to not be able to handle downtown really at all because this has just been so chaotic.
Uh-huh.
And I'm actually really impressed today. It's doing quite well through here. And, well, oh, maybe not. Darn it. Okay, yep, I took over to do that turn. So close. Gotta consider that a failure.
Right when you mentioned it.
Yep. That's kind of the going joke, is the second you start to praise it is when it messes up. It's like, oh, no,
Yeah.
you were doing so good.
All right. Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you
for the
so
ride.
much.
Oh, yeah, my
Have a
pleasure,
nice
guys.
day.
You too. So that, yep, you got it. All right, cool. That turned into a fun customer reaction. So I hope you guys enjoyed that ride. Though it was technically a failure at the end, and yeah, that's a big deal because you can see all these one-ways and heavy pedestrian traffic on a Sunday like today. And re-navigating with these one-ways in mind is a mess, and that could have resulted in probably the customer just telling the system to let them out at the next safe spot so they could just walk where they're wanting to go. That's probably the most rational solution there, is a way for customers to just be like, you know, pull over at the next available spot or next convenience. But it does add a layer of inconvenience that'll get worked out in time. I'm also approaching this from a mindset thinking down the line in the future. I know not everybody's really able to conceptualize long-term thinking the same way as other people, but I hope that that maybe helps demonstrate where my thought process is with how I judge this system and how harsh I might be on it, because I'm imagining the finished product. But that was overall a really good drive. That was a lot of fun, and it demonstrated a lot of the capability of FSD. I'll catch you guys in the next video.